people don't really understand. Like the Wendigo is probably the evilest of all of the entities. If you stop and think about it, like it's all about. I don't know of any other darker deity, I guess you could say, entity, whatever it would be. Like that's pure hunger.
Back to this Vince Lee guy. So the story was back in 2008. I didn't follow it to the end. I'm curious
This is what the AI on
what did he say? What did they found out about him? He must have been like possessed.
something.
No, I can tell you a scarier story than that when it comes to cannibalism, if you really want to hear about it. But like, there's a situation that happened where a guy actually volunteered to be eaten by another guy for money, and he
What?
yeah, and they
In Germany, yeah.
How's he gonna spend the money?
well, I don't know how the finishing part was to it, but the guy went to his house. They set it all up and negotiated it on the internet, and he went to his house, and I guess he poisoned himself so that he would die. And then after he was dead, the other guy was eating his freaking body.
Oh yeah, I'm
And
reading
then-
this. He was barricaded on the bus until the RCMP grabbed him the next day.
Yeah, but then he's diagnosed with schizophrenia or something. But then what did they do with him after? So they put him in jail, but
I think he needs to go to an insane asylum for the rest of his
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
Personally,
yeah.
I can't see him ever coming out. I would hope not. But
yeah.
So
when I'm
did
looking at here, it sounds like he basically took over the bus, displayed the severed head to horrified passengers.
He
out
he beheaded the poor guy, and then he he held the head and pranced around waving it to people.
Can't believe they left him in the bus overnight. I mean,
They're trying to. It's
it's
overnight?
Manitoba.
I don't know
It's
about
Manitoba,
that.
I guess. It's like, where do you get help?
RCMP would have arrived, and I mean they were chasing the other passengers in the bus, so they were probably scared for their life. But
so the cannibalism would be more like trying to dispose of the evidence. If he was there overnight, he was probably trying to think of a way of getting rid of the body, and there's only one logical way of doing that.
Ooh, they said they released the guy
What?
in May 2015. He later changed his name to Will Baker. He was granted absolute discharge in 2017.
What?
And his mom said his mother said it was a bad idea to let him out. So we
yeah.
Well, wasn't there like some rich Asian guy who ate someone? He was in a different country, but because his father was so rich, he basically got like 1 year in jail and then released to be totally free.
I
I
think Idi Amin
back in
used
the
to eat people.
70s.
Man, I'm telling you, this
that
is
guy that was that French Foreign Legion guy that took over he created the Central African Empire. He supposedly ate people, but he was a nut. He was like a corporal in the French Foreign Legion or something, and he managed to have a coup and take over the whole country. Covered his chest in medals.
well, you heard
And the
about
French recognized him because he had all these diamonds.
Yeah.
he was sitting on a diamond mine.
well, you heard the story behind the first recorded serial killer, right? It was
Cain?
it was in the Middle Ages, and he was actually one of the generals for freaking Joan of Arc.
Oh, Gilles de Rais, yeah. If he actually did that, I don't know. He was accused and found guilty, but I think there were political reasons for him to be killed as well. But yeah, he worked with Joan of Arc. She was kick butt, man. She was getting ready to lead a crusade and to defeat the Hussites. The proto-Protestants and stuff. It's like, once we take care of the English, we're going over to Bohemia and wipe these guys out.
Well, she was the first one to get. She got Paris to open their gates. And that was the big deal right there, because Paris, for the longest time, wouldn't allow anybody in. They were really, really.
I don't blame them. They're surrounded by French people.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wouldn't want.
Now, Britannia is what you guys were talking about the other day. I remember doing research on that, and I keep forgetting to mention that, but that's actually an interesting story there too. Like when she was trying to unify France, Britannia was the one that was really strongly controlled by the Catholic Church. And England had their hands into it too. They actually controlled that area at the time. And
which part of France?
Britannia, that would be the northern part.
Oh, Brittany?
Brittany, yeah.
Brittany, yeah.
So it's like that right there is actually a good.
Yes, the Angevin kings really wanted to unify France under their rule. Yeah. I don't think the French saw it as unification. They had another attitude to that.
Well, they had to trap Joan of Arc, and that's how they did it. They had her admit publicly that she felt that God had spoken to her,
and then burn as a witch.
Mm-hmm. Well, then if she claimed that she was getting direct contact with God, then that would show signs of witchcraft, and that's how they were able.
Yeah, it was heresy because God does not talk to women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think she. Again, I'm not super conversant with the case. I do know that they did have her examined by theologians. I mean, they considered her claims. Obviously, the English were going to have a kangaroo court over her because she was nothing else an enemy general who had caused them a great deal of harm. There was a great deal of animus against her. I don't know if she's, I'm trying to remember what she actually said about her visions. I don't know that she talked to God directly, but I thought like there were angelic visitations. She could have spoken to Our Lady, but I thought it was angels that she was talking to. Of course, that's not too far removed from talking to God. I mean,
I forgot which church it was in or which ruins it was in, but it was the one where she received her sword that was supposedly hidden in back behind the it was buried, I believe, in the soil, and she like wiped off the dirt and everything. It was laying there on the floor or in the ground.
Right.
And she said that she had back then, the French, when they prayed, they didn't say words in their prayers. They just sat there quietly and waited for, it was kind of a form of meditation. And she was sitting there and she was in prayer, and she had a vision and then a voice that told her what to do. And that's what they ended up getting her on. Is that one moment when she was talking about that. So I don't know for sure if she said that she had talked to God himself or Jesus or anything, but I know that was the part that where she got where they considered her as being possessed by the devil or something, or possessed by.
She certainly felt she was under divine guidance, and her political opponents certainly felt that she was under devilish guidance, I guess, the opposite of divine, or at the very least deluded. So, but again, I think her sentence was pretty much predetermined. They weren't going to let her go. Not after she did a lot to destroy, English military hopes in France at the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
unification. Yes, she stopped the unification.
I wanted to bring that up because I've been pretty harsh on the French lately, and I just wanted to say, Joan of Arc was cool, guys.
Yes.
The English got what they deserved. Those horrible.
I remind everybody, Agincourt.
Yes.
Agincourt, is that what you
said? Crazy too. Crazy, but Agincourt definitely.
Agincourt. Oh, okay. Well, if you had to go back and do it all over again, what would you do? Would you let Joan of Arc live, or would you let her die?
Technically, she would be, well, it would be heresy to let her live. Yeah, she would have to die.
Well, you could repent, and they didn't necessarily. I mean, it depended upon the time and place. I remember reading about the getting into the 80 Years' War, and a lot of that is the Spain trying to hang on to the Netherlands, and the king was amazingly militantly Catholic and just had the Inquisition going like crazy. But it was he said something about somebody said something to him about sending the Spanish Inquisition into the Netherlands, into Flanders, and he says, why would I? The Flemish Inquisition, the Flanders Inquisition that he had established, was much crueler, and from the descriptions I'm seeing, they were just like slash and burn. It depended on the time, place, and circumstance, but I think Joan was a political execution. It was a military execution. That was at a time when the ecclesiastical court no doubt would have found whatever the secular court wanted them to find. And again, at that time, bishops were just as likely to be a royal minister. There was very little, in fact, I would say no differentiation between church and state. And even in that time before the Reformation, you had that idea of whoever is the ruler is running the church in their country. That was a big fight King John had with the Pope appointed, Stephen Langley, I think it was, anyway, as Archbishop. And he's like, no, I don't like the guy. Or they had some political reason and stuff. So you had, church, state, society. It was more or less one big banana. And that very, very little distinction between them that we have today. The idea that someone should lead a spiritual life and only pursue spiritual things. The Pope had an army, well, still does, but I mean, now they've just Swiss Guard, but he has right up until recently the Palatine Guard with an artillery regiment and some light armor. On the other hand, I remember something Stalin said when he was doing something and the Pope didn't like it, and he said, "How many divisions does the Pope have?"
Yeah. It was interesting when me and Tan did the thing we did on the Pope, or the popes in history.
Dead popes?
Yeah, the dead popes. We called it the Dead Pope Society.
The dead popes.
When we did that, man, it was really interesting because it was the Swiss, wasn't it, Tan, that had a lot of influence on the Catholic Church during that time. They were constantly fighting with Italy, I believe it was.
Oh, you mean like the Ghibellines and the
it was
the papal and the imperial parties.
They were
Guelphs and the Ghibellines, you mean? The imperial party and the church party, the Italian party?
Yeah. Italy was trying their hardest to retain power over the Catholic Church, whereas I believe it was the Swiss. I believe it was where they were.
I think the Holy Roman Empire, which included them. I don't know that they had the actual countries we have today, but I know who you mean. They called all their countries different things, but yeah. It
was a constant battle. Like, people would end up dying and stuff, and then we found out like popes weren't like straight up murdered like I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a Machiavellian kind of situation, but there was like popes that were imprisoned, and they would mysteriously die under circumstances, like starvation. Things like
or they would just elect another pope. Don't like this pope. Well, I think there were 3 going at one time. No. And they moved the papacy to Avignon for a while, the so-called Babylonian captivity, when the papacy was in Avignon and in the French king's pocket, pretty much.